welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality, and today I have a Trash to Treasures fall DIY video for you. I will be remaking 4 different items to decorate my buffet in my dining room. So I wanted to show you the things first, and then we will get on to the DIY portion. So what I found first was this really cute antique sign. It is real wood, and I thought it was pretty cute as is, but I want to make it to match and go along with my decor. So I'm going to paint it and add some lettering and possibly a pumpkin. So that's this one. It was $2.99. The next thing I found, and I think this is my favorite that I found, was this mid-century modern piece, and it has like metal trays and then the wood, real wood portions for in between and on the bottom. So I'm going to paint this, of course, and turn it into something that I can use in my space. It was $5.99. And then the last 2 items I found were 2 sweaters, and you're thinking, what are you using with sweaters? You'll see here in a second. But I found this one. It is a turquoise color. My home is purple and turquoise and cream, and when I do my fall decorating, I use the cream and the turquoise. So I picked this one up. It has a really pretty texture, kind of like little pin dots on it and some fun ruffles. I don't know if I'll use the ruffles for this, but I thought that was fun anyway. And then I found this white or cream colored ribbed sweater. It has a really pretty shape to it, but it does have stains on it, so I don't feel real bad using these things because this is stained. The other one is kind of an outdated style. So these were each $6.99, but they were 50% off. I wouldn't have paid $6.99 for this one maybe, but it's not in style, so I wouldn't nowadays. But so stick around and find out how I make over all of these items.
For my first DIY, I'm going to be painting, along with the help of my kitty cat Rose, this really cute antique sign. I thought it was cute as is, but I wanted it to go with my fall decor, so I'm painting it with the Waverly chalk paint in the color of ivory. I had to do 2 coats on the edges, but in the center part where the antiques wording was, I gave that 3 coats to make sure that it totally covered up that writing. After that was all dry, I took this pumpkin that I had picked up at the Dollar Tree, and I'm cutting it in half. It is a foam pumpkin, so I was able to use my serrated knife on there. I wanted to use that half on the sign, but I will be painting it with this Waverly chalk paint. It is called Peacock. It's a really pretty turquoise color. And then I also am painting this thankful sign that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. It is one of the metal words that are out in the fall decor section right now. I love this color turquoise. I have this all over in my house, so I just thought it would be perfect to go in my fall decor. And if you later on, you will see some of the items that I made last year for my fall decor that I'm adding in with these pieces, and I use these same colors. So now I take some 150 grit sandpaper and I'm sanding off the edges because I want this to look a little distressed. That way it'll show some of the previous color from underneath. I did some on the edges. I did a little bit in the center, but not a whole lot. I also went over my pumpkin and distressed it a little bit to pull out some of the color that was underneath on that. I accidentally took a big chunk off, so I painted that up. And then I put the stem back into the pumpkin. Now I'm just going to be gluing these 2 pieces down right on top here. I used some hot glue, but you really have to do it quick with the hot glue on that metal sign because it dries really fast. And I actually didn't get it down the way I wanted to the first time, so I ended up pulling up the thankful sign and trying to repair it. I pulled some of the glue off. I just wasn't quick enough and the glue dried. So I'm adding just fewer pieces of glue, and this time I was able to get it down. I still had to pull some of the little wispies off, but I think that turned out really cute. For my next piece, I am altering this mid-century modern little tray, and I tried to pull the pieces apart. I thought they would just screw apart, but I couldn't get them out, so I just went with it. I started with my ivory Waverly chalk paint and gave each of the metal pieces 2 coats. I was real careful to paint around the wood pieces. I didn't have any painter's tape on hand, so I just had to be real careful with my brush. I started by painting the tops of these, and then I waited for the tops to dry a little bit and then went in and painted the bottom. When I went to paint the bottom, where that base wood piece is, I couldn't go all the way down in. I didn't want to end up getting paint on that wood portion, but I went as far as I could, stick my brush in there and paint it, as best as I could. And I'm not going to worry about the rest of it because you can't even see it. So everything here had 2 coats and I let it dry. So now I'm going in with my turquoise and painting the wood. Of course, I needed to be really careful because I didn't have any painter's tape on this. But this paint covers really well on wood, so I only needed 1 coat of the paint on this. I took a flat brush, and that's how I was able to get right down near the bottom of that wood piece without messing up the ivory paint. So I was able to paint the bottom and the top wood piece by holding my middle piece, and I painted those 2, let them dry, and then later I went in and painted the middle section. On the bottom there was a slight lip that was close to the metal tray, and so I just took my brush up and went along that lip, and that was as far as I painted. Now the other sections have dried, so now I'm going into the center and I'm painting that part. One thing I like about the chalk paint, especially this Waverly chalk paint, it has really good coverage. And even for painting on the metal trays, it covered really well. It did take 2, but I think if I had painted with the turquoise on the metal tray, it probably would only need 1 coat. Now, I went in with my sandpaper on this to rough up some of the edges, give it a little texture. I did just a little bit of that. After sanding this piece is pretty much done, but I do go in later on and add some items into the tray, and you will see how I stage this piece later on. For my final DIY, I want to make 2 pumpkins using the 2 sweaters that I had found. I cut off a 1-foot-long section of the sweater arm, and then taking jute twine and cutting 6 pieces of it. They are about 1.5 inches long. You need to turn the sweater arm inside out and then stick those 6 pieces of jute twine down all the way through the arm piece. Bunch it up at the end and then tie that end off with another piece of jute twine. Now you want to turn your arm inside out, to where the right side is out. I picked up a pillow from Walmart for the stuffing because it's actually cheaper than buying a thing of polyfiber. and I'm stuffing as much in there as I wanted to make it a little pumpkin. Now I'm going to tie the end with another piece of jute twine. Tie it as tight as you can make it. Now you want to take one piece at a time and pull those jute strings up around to the top of it to make the sections of the pumpkin. But first you'll be pulling them up to the top, and then you'll take another piece of jute twine and tie it around all of those pieces. Now, pulling each one of those strings, you're going to tighten them up and form the little sections of the pumpkin. And you kind of have to go around and adjust, move the strings over to make sure that the sections are even as you'd like them to be. And then I left two of those strings a little bit long, so it looks like it's part of the vine that the pumpkin grows on in the ground. Now I'm adding some of the rope from the Dollar Tree. I added some glue, hot glue, and now I'm starting to wind it around, and this is going to be making the stem of the pumpkin. I cut some of that excess sweater off so it's not so tall. And then just continue to go around with my rope and adding glue in every once in a while. And then when I got towards the top, I cut off the rope, added some more glue, and just tucked it right down inside. And then if there are any other sections that are kind of loose, you add more glue. And then these leaves are burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree. So I just end up removing the leaf from the wire and then cut down a little bit of it, and I'll glue that. I glued it on top of where the rope started so you couldn't see that edge. Now I took the turquoise sweater that I had, and I'm just going to be making another pumpkin the same way. And I'll save that excess sweater for other projects. So again, cut 6 pieces of jute twine at 1.5 feet each. Turn your arm inside out, stick the strings in there, and then line them up at the end and tie it off with another piece of jute string. Turn it right side out and go ahead and stuff it with your stuffing. Now, something that you could do if you want to make a bigger pumpkin out of the sweater, then you would just cut the body of the sweater its full width, like where the waist is, and that would make a huge pumpkin. Now tie off the top after you have your jute pieces all to make the sections, and then I trimmed off some of that excess sweater, and now I'm pulling my jute pieces up to create the sections on the pumpkin. I left a couple pieces and trimmed off the rest. Now I'm just going to go in with my rope and add some hot glue and twist the rope around to make the stem. Be careful not to burn your fingers. I did that in this process. Finish it off there with some more glue and tuck your rope in to finish it. And trimming those little dangly pieces there. And then I used the rest of the leaf that I used from the Dollar Tree and gluing that over the top of my seam. So here they are, and here is the final reveal of everything together. I love how this turned out. This is on the top of my buffet in my dining room. Some of that big burlap pumpkin there was one of my projects from last year, as well as the pumpkin on top there, the turquoise one. And the sign, I think everything turned out great. Now on my tray, I added those two pumpkins, of course. The one on the bottom is the burlap pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, and then the little pumpkin and the pine cones and those white daisies are from Walmart. They were the 99-cent fall ones that they have this year. So I think this all came together and looks so beautiful. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality. Bye. God bless.